In an industry built on violence,
The lead right hand that connects by Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather is famously undefeated.
Floyd Mayweather Jr., 10F, 17453X.
In his tempestuous personal life, Mayweather has multiple convictions for assaulting a number of different women.
If I really did what they say I did, as far as beating a woman and stomping a woman, I'm Floyd Mayweather. They would have brought pictures out instantly. Still no pictures, no nothing.
There is proof and a history, and approaching the so-called fight of the century, Mayweather will not discuss it.
You have no desire to answer that question?
Well, you know, when it's all said and done, only God can judge you. But I don't want people to miss this fight.
Neither will his father.
Don't tell me nothing about what Floyd doing with his beating his women and all. I want to hear all that. It's boxing, man. You want to talk about boxing? Do you want to talk about boxing? Do you or don't you?
While the Nevada State Athletic Commission voted unanimously to allow Mayweather to fight.
Do I think that domestic violence is a very serious issue? Absolutely.
Today outside the lines, on track to earn well over $100 million. Floyd Mayweather's history of domestic violence is but an afterthought.
And now, reporting for Outside the Lines, Bob Lee.
When Roger Goodell and senior NFL leadership mishandled the Ray Rice domestic violence case, that ineptness ignited a firestorm that nearly consumed the commissioner, leading to a sea change, not only in his league on this social problem, but an awareness streaking through every sport. Zero tolerance, new policies, vigilant oversight, for no other reason that no sport wanted to risk being found asleep at the switch on such a searing social justice issue. Just this week, Greg Hardy, whose domestic violence charges were dropped, was suspended 10 games by the National Football League. And then there's boxing, where the most valuable athlete on the planet is a serial abuser who flaunts his long history of violence against women whenever he's questioned about it. Which is not often, because right now the fascination with Floyd Mayweather is largely over his upcoming mega bout with Manny Pacquiao, and not how the decentralized oversight in a struggling sport has allowed Mayweather through the years to advance towards this 9-figure payday. The story of proven facts and Mayweather's response, reported today by John Barr.
I'm young, I'm fly, I'm flashy, I'm rich. Damn, life is good.
Money, paper, guap, moolah, confetti.
He is rich, famous, and more than willing to flaunt it. Already the highest paid athlete in the world, Floyd Mayweather is about to hit the mother lode. Estimates of his payday for the Manny Pacquiao bout have reached $180 million.
Mayweather Pacquiao, the biggest fight in boxing history. Thank you.
But there's a darker side to Mayweather's personal narrative, obscured by his flamboyant lifestyle, a history of violence against women.
I think that Floyd, by and large, has gotten a free ride from the media.
Thomas Hauser is a boxing writer and historian.
I have a lot of respect for the way he practices his craft. But in terms of the way he treats women in particular, he's not a role model.
According to police and court documents obtained by Outside the Lines, Mayweather has been convicted 5 times for incidents dating back more than 14 years. February 2001, during an argument with Melissa Brim, the mother of his oldest daughter, Mayweather punched Melissa 3 times in the face, leaving fresh bruises. July 2001, Mayweather struck Brim in the neck while the two were shopping with their daughter. August 2003, Mayweather assaulted 2 women who were friends of his then-girlfriend Josie Harris, hitting and punching the women with a closed fist. Years later, Mayweather's conviction was vacated and dismissed. December 2003, Mayweather hit Harris, the mother of his other 3 children, in her face. A police report noted she had several visible bruises about her head. Mayweather was eventually found not guilty after Harris changed her story. But in September 2010, yet another incident with Harris, and this time Mayweather would land in jail.
Hey, man, what happened with Josie yesterday?
According to a police report, Mayweather grabbed Harris by her hair and began striking her in the back of her head with a closed fist several times, and then threatened to kill her. As 2 of her 3 children looked on, Harris wrote later in a statement, he continued to beat me in front of them, threatening to beat them the same way. Harris, as you can see in this video obtained by TMZ, was wheeled away on a stretcher. But when asked by ESPN about the incident, Mayweather denied assaulting her.
If I really did what they say I did, as far as beating a woman and stomping a woman, I'm Floyd Mayweather. They would have brought pictures out instantly. Still no pictures, no nothing.
Floyd Mayweather Jr., 10F17453X.
In June 2012, Mayweather began serving his 90-day jail sentence, but he was out in 2 months. And the judge in the case agreed to delay Mayweather's sentence long enough to let him fight Miguel Cotto in May of that same year.
If Ray Rice had been criminally convicted and was going to prison for 90 days, and the judge said, well, we'll defer your jail time until after you play in the Super Bowl, and the NFL said, yeah, that's great, let's let Ray play in the Super Bowl, I think the reaction would have been much more heated than you see now.
The infamous video of Ray Rice assaulting his then fiancée and the NFL's mishandling of the incident led to changes in the league's domestic violence policy.
I got it wrong in the handling of the Ray Rice matter.
Rice was eventually suspended indefinitely, but has since been reinstated. Mayweather, despite multiple convictions, has never faced any suspension by boxing officials.
To suggest that somehow that we should have second-guessed that punishment, I don't think that that's the role that the Nevada State Athletic Commission should be in.
Pat Lundvall serves on the 5-member Nevada State Athletic Commission. It was Lundvall and her fellow commissioners who voted unanimously to issue Mayweather a boxing license before he served his sentence.
Do I think that domestic violence is a very serious issue? Absolutely. Mr. Mayweather was punished by the criminal justice system. He served his punishment. He paid his debt to society.
But the commission has, in the past, suspended fighters for far less. And its own guidelines say it can suspend the license of any fighter who has violated the laws of Nevada, except for minor traffic violations.
You can suspend licenses for somebody who's arrested for anything north of a traffic violation. And you didn't do anything when a guy assaulted the mother of his children in front of his kids.
I disagree with your characterization strongly. The criminal justice system had decided what this man's punishment was. A judge had made that decision, and we paid respect to that decision.
The optics. It just doesn't look good, does it?
Well, the optics are your business. The optics are not my business.
I don't have any confidence that the Boxing Commission will be the court of last resort or do justice for victims.
Attorney Gloria Allred represents Mayweather's former fiancée, Chantel Jackson, who alleges Mayweather also abused her. During an argument in 2012, Jackson alleges Mayweather choked her. Months later, after she threatened to leave him, Jackson claims Mayweather bent her arm, restrained her, and pointed a gun at her foot, asking, "Which toe do you want me to shoot?"
There was a point in my relationship with Floyd that I thought we would be together forever.
He may have a boxing license. He does not have a license to hurt women. He doesn't get a pass. He doesn't get an exception because he's Floyd Mayweather Jr.
He is being presented again and again as a role model. Somewhere in the United States tonight, a young man who thinks that Floyd Mayweather is a role model is going to beat up a woman.
Over the years, Mayweather has been largely celebrated by the media, including this network.
Mr. Mayweather, to your right, sir.
At a recent event to promote the fight, we learned what happens when members of Mayweather's entourage, including his father, are asked about the boxer's troubled past.
He has actual convictions, and nothing's ever happened to him with respect to any kind of sanction by the governing bodies of boxing.
Look at man, you a police?
No, I'm not the police. I'm just asking.
Man, the police, man. Don't tell me nothing about what Floyd doing with his beating his women and all. I want to hear all that. It's boxing, man. You want to talk about boxing? You want to talk about boxing? Do you or don't you?
Minutes later, we approached Mayweather with similar questions.
In your case, there's been actual convictions, and no governing body has ever suspended you or sanctioned you. What message do you think that sends victims of domestic violence?
I just say I want everybody to tune in May 2nd. Mayweather versus Pacquiao. This is a fight that you can't miss.
You have no desire to answer that question?
And I'm blessed to be where I'm at. You know, I have 4 beautiful children, and I'm truly, truly blessed to be where I'm at today. And with hard work and dedication, you can be anywhere in life.
Well, look, unquestionably, you've worked hard to get to where you are, but there are a lot of people who wonder why you should be allowed to continue to box in the highest profile events when you've got the track record that you have, when in other sports, there have been serious repercussions for some of these athletes.
Well, everybody's, you know, when it's all said and done, only God can judge you. But I don't want people to miss this fight. This is an unbelievable matchup. Mayweather-Pacquiao, May 2nd. Be there.
With that, Mayweather was gone, declining to answer further questions. Just days ago, the Nevada State Athletic Commission had to decide once again whether to issue Mayweather a boxing license in time for his upcoming bout against Pacquiao.
For the approval of Mr. Mayweather's license, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion passes unanimously.
And once again, the vote was unanimous.
The one and only Floyd Money Mayweather.
The bottom line, when Mayweather steps in the ring, Vegas cashes in.
It's one of the reasons that the Las Vegas establishment has been so kind to Floyd, where his run-ins with the law have been concerned.
We know how much money is brought in to the state of Nevada from boxing. It's huge. And does money matter more than violence against women? I think to many people it does.
John Barr reporting. Now, Outside the Lines reached out to all 5 of the women Mayweather is either convicted of or accused of assaulting. 3 of the women declined to comment. 2 others did not respond. Mayweather himself also declined our offer for a more expansive interview about his history of domestic violence. That civil lawsuit filed by Mayweather's former fiancée, Chantel Jackson, is pending. It's awaiting a June hearing. And full disclosure, ESPN next week will be televising a boxing show in association with Mayweather Promotions. With all of that said, we say good day to Tim Kewen, whose access with Mayweather is the basis for his cover story in the next edition of ESPN, the magazine. And, of course, you know Jamel Hill for, among many other platforms, co-hosting His and Hers. It's good to have you both here. Tim, you spent a lot of time around Floyd Mayweather. You had occasion to bring up the topic of domestic violence. What was his demeanor and the substance of his reaction and his response?
Well, Bob, it was very similar to what John Barr got on his report. Floyd tries to deflect and really to avoid it. I did see sort of an evolution from only God can judge me to what he told me, which is I've made mistakes and I've paid for them. It's an improvement, but in this day of heightened awareness, it's not what people want. It's not the mea culpa that we all expect from somebody with his history. And I think that the way he's handled it, instead of deflecting it, has, in some cases, really made it worse.
Let me pick up, Jamel, with John Barr's question on the optics of this here, just in the wake of the 10-game NFL suspension to Greg Hardy, and, of course, the league trying to get this one right and get it right from the drop. What this optics of this situation is?
Well, the optics look really bad for the Nevada Commission, just because it's very clear that they made a conscious financial decision, that they were far more concerned with the money that he could generate, and for that matter, the star power that he can bring to Las Vegas. I mean, Floyd Mayweather is a brilliant fighter, and I think the thing that makes boxing much more unique as opposed to the NFL is that the NFL is dependent on several teams and several players. It's not about one guy. Boxing is different, especially the state that boxing is in right now. It is pretty dependent on Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao to a slightly lesser degree. And this fight, it's an event sport, and it's a sport that's based off character, and Floyd Mayweather is a character, and so they cannot resist using his name and everything that he brings to bring in just coffers of money.
Let's go back, and I want to run a piece of tape. This is from this past Tuesday. This is just before the unanimous vote approving the licensure for this fight for Floyd Mayweather. This is the Nevada State Athletic Commission in that hearing.
Any other questions by commissioners?
I've got one question. Mr. Mayweather, we last saw you in 2013 for your promoter's license, and we had a special hearing for you in 2012. Have there been any additional incidents or any additional circumstances dealing with domestic violence since the last time of your application?
Not for me. I don't know about no one else, but not for me.
All right, in other words, that you're not in violation. You've served out all the time and all of your obligations then that were imposed then by the state concerning the conviction then in 2012?
For me, anything that happened with domestic violence in my past, once again, you know, I've never claimed to be perfect, but far as I know, everything that I had to do, you know, I did.
And shortly after that response, the unanimous vote. Now, Jamel, you laid out some of the economics, but just the history of boxing, the way it's decentralized. I mean, how realistic is it for us to expect for this sport to make a stand on this issue, given its economics and given its own history over all of these issues?
I don't think it's realistic at all. And that's the position that not just boxing, but a lot of leagues are put in. You know, as much as they sometimes give lip service to even making moral considerations when it comes to be it a Floyd Mayweather or any other of these type of decisions, when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, they're going to make a financial decision. And in boxing, in an individual sport, and especially given the nature of the sport, I think that plays into it as well. And, you know, there are a lot of guys in boxing that have not had a clean pass, have had far from it. I think that they've rationalized it to the point where they find it acceptable to not punish somebody like Floyd Mayweather.
Tim, you paint a picture in your article coming out on Wednesday of this boxer who has an incredible self-constructed world around him through his wealth that he has accomplished by ferociously training and succeeding in the ring, and lives in there with this ferocity and a laser focus.
And Bob, I think that insulation that he's created within this world has, you know, it's created a couple of things that are very important, and one of them is deference, and the other one is loyalty. And I think that that's kind of the root of a lot of this, is that, you know, if someone is seen as violating one or both of those principles, then it seems like there have been problems. And I think that, you know, Floyd, as Jamel says, is a cottage industry in Las Vegas, and boxing, I think, probably has gotten some cover, the Boxing Commission, from the fact that Floyd did spend 2 months in jail for the last conviction, because there was a punishment, and he did do time. And it's not like a team sport where the games would happen anyway. Boxing suspends Floyd for a year. He just fights Manny Pacquiao in 1 year. It's a little bit difficult to
or somewhere else, another state, another country.
Exactly.
Exactly. Now, he wrote a note to all of his employees, to Team Mayweather. Tell us about that. He issued it last month. Basically said, well, the gravy train's coming into the station soon.
He did, Bob, and I think it's interesting because it's sort of a sign of Floyd kind of seeing the end and also seeing the reality of the end. And those are two different things, because the reality of the end is that I think he understands that this lifestyle he has with 9 security guards and with all these people around him is not sustainable if he's not making a minimum of $100 million a year. So it's a sign of a little bit of awareness, self-awareness, that I think I've seen. I've been around Floyd about every 2 years for 8 years, and I have seen an evolution of him being able to see outside the bubble, as it were. And, you know, there's going to be sort of a re-entry time for him when he finishes boxing, which he swears comes in September is going to be his last fight. And it's going to be an adjustment for him, and it appears that he's making plans for it now.
I mentioned at the top of the show, Jamel, so much of the focus has been on Mayweather's lifestyle, the opulence around him, the size of the ticket price, all of this. And the question has been raised, how much media focus has there been on the question of domestic violence? And I know you work in a number of different platforms for us here. You've had to walk that chalk line between talking about the social issue of domestic violence and the boxing event, the sporting event.
I think as fans, as people in the media, we all have to practice in some way, shape, or form cognitive dissonance when it comes to someone like Floyd Mayweather or any other athlete. Many of the popular athletes in a variety of sports in this country have blemished past, and we all have our different lines. And I guess for me with Floyd Mayweather, the difference between, say, him and if you want to put him with Ray Rice is that Ray Rice, since his incident, on a number of different platforms, and as you know, I did the Janae Rice interview, he has tried to own responsibility for what he has done. He has apologized for it in many different forms. We don't get that from Floyd Mayweather, and I think that's why he has created more of a maelstrom of hate as opposed to maybe other people and other athletes that have been in that situation. For me, just as a woman, beyond just being a journalist, that's the part that sickens me about watching him, is that he, even though it's part of my job to do so, and I'll watch the fight next week just like hundreds of millions of people will too, but I hate this part of it because what he has done to his victims post serving time is just as shameful as what he has done to them physically.
He's 38, Tim. At what points in all your observation around him, we got about 30 seconds, does he look like a 38-year-old boxer?
Well, most of the time, Bob, he doesn't, and his training is still epic, and it's still very impressive. But there are times when he'll cut a workout short, when he feels the timing's not there. He talks a lot more about training smart rather than training hard, and I think that that's a concession as well, that he feels some of the body's small treasons, as I put it in the piece, and I think that's an awareness also of his body and also the importance of this fight. This is a lot riding on this fight for him and his legacy personally, and I think that he's more in tune with how his body feels and making it work on May 2nd.
His legacy and 60% of the take as well. Tim Kuhn, Jamel Hill, thanks so much. And Wednesday, Tim's cover story will drop, the next edition of ESPN, the magazine, on Floyd Mayweather. And what drives him and what he has warned all those around him is going to be on the horizon. We'll be back.